Alright guys, so this is part 2 of the rarest, top 40 rarest systems that I own. If you haven't seen the first part, I really encourage you guys to watch that first before you watch this one. Appreciate your guys' comments, your feedback, and hopefully the lighting is better in this one than my previous one, and hopefully you can see me okay. Anyway, thanks for your feedback guys, I've been listening. Let's go on to number 30. Alright, so number 30 would be the Watara Supervision. It's also known as the Quickshot Supervision in the UK. It came out in 1992. It's coming in Taiwan, actually. It came out to compete with the Game Boy. Obviously, the Game Boy had 90% of the market share at the time by 92, and this was a very short-lived system. It's black and white. It's got a huge screen, less than Game Boy graphics, I would guess. And then it's got this cool screen that can actually bend and stuff, and the games look like so. But because it is very, very well, and sold very well, it is considered quite rare, and I'm pretty excited to have one. Even the screen has nice plastic still on it. So let's go on to number 29. Alright, number 29 on my list would be the Game Boy Light system. The system actually came out in Japan only in 1998, right before the Game Boy Color came out. It's slightly bigger than the Game Boy Pocket, slightly smaller than Game Boy Color. There's several variations of this. The two main ones were silver and gold. This is the gold one. And what it is, why it's so cool is actually it plays backlit games. So it's actually backlit, which is really nice. You have the option of doing it or not. With the backlit off, it's about 20 hours of gameplay on 2 AA batteries. With the backlight on, it's about 12 hours of gameplay. One of my favorite Game Boys there are out there. Definitely, if you're a big Game Boy fan, look for this and see if you can find one if you're lucky enough to pick one up for a decent price. On to number 28. Alright, number 28, I'm doing a lot of handhelds on this list if you guys can't tell. This is the Turbo Express. Came out by NEC. It's basically, it came out in 1990. What it is, more or less, it's a TurboGrafx 16 handheld. These are pretty rare, very desired by collectors. If you're curious what this little device is right here, this is a TV tuner, so you can watch TV on this thing too. It's significantly bigger than the Game Boy, but a lot more advanced than the Game Boy. Wouldn't be until other companies took suit on this as well as Nomad. So on number 27. Alright, number 27, we've got it's another Sega system, came out in 1994, Sega CDX. This thing is it's very portable actually. Sega created, and what it does is it plays both Genesis carts and Sega CD games all in one. So it's very similar to the JVC XI that I did on my previous video. It's about half the size though, and it was $100 less than that system to undercut the JVC system. Now the whole idea was it can take batteries and you can take it on the go, which is pretty cool, and listen to music on the go. So it plays music, which is kind of portable, but still pretty heavy for a portable. You can't put it in your pocket or anything. But on to number 26. Okay, number 26 is the SuperGrafx by NEC. The system came out only in Japan back in 1989. Now this does play all PC Engine games. It's compatible with all those. But what's interesting is there's a handful of games that you could actually plug in and be enhanced graphics. One particular game I really like is the Ghosts and Goblins port. Ghosts and Goblins is probably the best port for the system. It also is compatible with the CD system as well, so you can hook that up to this as well. But overall, it didn't sell very well. It was really overpriced when it came out in 1989, and because of that, it's pretty rare. So let's go on to number 25. All right, number 25. This thing's a beast. It's the Coleco Atom computer. This computer came out in 1983. Now this is just the unit itself. I have a monitor, the printer. There's a keyboard to go along with it. I just don't feel like carrying it for you here. I do have a review on this computer if you want to see more. Came out in 1983. It plays all ColecoVision games. If you look at the games, it's Coleco and Atom. So if you're ever wondering what Atom is, it's not a person. It's a computer. It also plays really cool. It has a cassette player, so you can actually play. Put it in cassettes, and the cassettes would actually load programs and games, etc. It came out in 1983. In a year and a half, less than 2 years, the computer absolutely failed. It was super expensive. Not many people bought it. Less than 100,000 of these were ever sold, and it's one of the main reasons why Coleco went out of business. out of the gaming industry and out of business in general, because they invested so much money in this computer and it absolutely flopped. And there's an interesting debate on Donkey Kong for this, because Atari supposedly had the rights to the Donkey Kong for the computers, while Coleco had the rights for the consoles, and there was a Donkey Kong game released on this, but that's a whole other story I won't get into right now. Let's go on to number 24. Number 24 is the Gizmondo. I think it's probably one of the coolest names for a handheld, but that's just my personal opinion. Came out by a company called Tiger Telematics, and not to be confused with 2005. Only lasted about a year. Now it was much more popular in the UK than here in the States. It did sell here in the States, but only at kiosks in certain malls and on a website. Didn't sell at like retail stores or anything like that. But what it is, I thought this system had a lot of potential. It had the ability to do GPS. There's a camera. There's a 3.6 camera on here, PIX camera. You can do games, obviously. You can do a whole bunch of things on this handheld right here. So really cool handheld. Unfortunately, it died way early because of the founder of the company was in the mafia. But overall, it's a pretty good system. If you want to learn more about this, I did a review on this. So on to number 23. The number 23 is yet another handheld, guys. It's called the Tapwave Zodiac 2. There's two versions of this. This is the second model. It's got a lot more features and stuff. But the system came out by a company called Tapwave. If you haven't heard of them, don't feel bad. Actually, what it is, it's a basic function is more of a Palm Pilot, so to speak. You do calendars more for you do schedules. You can go. There's a whole bunch of applications on here for business professionals, but it's an awesome gaming system too. It uses SD cards. It's got this really cool analog stick right here, and these are your buttons, and it's a touch screen, and it's a beautiful screen, especially for early, 2000s. It's way ahead of its time. Pretty expensive. I think it was like $3.99 when it came out, but it's pretty rare, and it's a great addition to have part of a game collection. Alright guys, number 22 is my Bandai Playdia. This system came out by Bandai in Japan in 1994. It wasn't ever released outside Japan. And what's interesting about the system, it's not Bandai's very first attempt in the gaming market. They had the TV Jacks and a couple Pong clones in the late 70s, early 80s, but it's another attempt of theirs. And it's a pretty cool system in the sense it's got a wireless remote. You can play two players, just one remote. And it plays CDs, and the CDs games are on here are a lot of anime, kind of like if you're familiar with Dragon's Lair, where you had to push a certain button at a certain time, get somewhere. A lot of the games play like that. Graphics it's a 32-bit system, I believe, so it's pretty decent graphics. Came out in 1994. So on to number 21. So number 20 on the list is the Atari Jaguar CD. Came out in 1995 on the deathbed of the Atari Jaguar. I have no idea why Atari decided to release the system. Only 15 games were released. A couple of the ones you should check out is there's a pretty good Primal Rage port, and Myst has a pretty good port. Outside of that, the other games are not that great. Cool music game on it though, which was packed in. But there was rumors has it that only about 20,000 of these were initially shipped, and that's all that they shipped out, and that's all that were sold. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the rumor. About 20,000 were only sold. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. On part 3 will be up shortly, in the next day or so. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care.